I remember that when I met him in 2007, and then 2008 we get a recession. But this kind of recession and problem should be overcome. I agree with Prof. Bambang in saying that in the near future we have to plan accordingly. What should we do to actually not actually fighting the virus. When fighting the virus is part of our colleague from health sciences, medical doctor, to cure the virus. But for us, the people from higher education as an educator, we have to be prepared for the future. Now, what I'm saying, the preparedness of us is actually to address and to try to predict what's going to happen in the short term, medium term, and long term. In engineering, where we have to deal with practical things, for instance, we have to deal with this hands-on, we have to be in the laboratory. It's more challenging actually compared to the one that when you're talking only and give the lecture in terms of cognitive only, because we have psychomotoric to be measured, we have also affective to be seen and to be examined. So therefore, in order to get there, we have a special challenge. Now, to me, some of us already embarking in trying to solve the challenge, yeah, trying to address the challenge. For instance, we do have no artificial intelligence. We have no, in the era of trying to push a little bit harder or a little bit faster, what we call as augmented reality. This augmented reality, virtual reality. So this is actually our instrument to be there in the future for us, especially for the engineering discipline. But however, when we see this in a great depth, there is a missing link, the missing component. That is the interface, the face-to-face between lecturer and the students. That should be minimized actually. So therefore, in my what is it called prediction in the future, many universities have to go, instead of direct competitor, there'll be a collaborator, there'll be collaboration instead of competing each other, to be complementing to each other. So if you know, before I want to move, as a lecture from lecture based from UPI, from Universitas Putra Indonesia Padang, that this is actually same with you, Pak Bambang, Prof. Bambang. There's actually both of my parents come from Padang, so therefore my heart and soul is actually in Padang, in this area. So therefore, if you have one, I've got two. Both of them are from called small. It's not small, very small actually. District called Tanjung Ampalu. That's actually where my father and mother coming from. Anyway, so that's the emotional relationship of this. I believe that before anybody, everybody saying that the long story, maybe we miss something. That from the presentation, I know that Universitas Putra Malaysia, Universitas Putra Indonesia, YPTK Padang, already for the 35 years, where the IIUM is starting a little bit early, 83, Universitas Putra Indonesia starting in 85. So only different two years. So the last 35 years, a milestone had been put by Mr. Haji Hermanawas, which is the founder as well the chairman of the yayasan of the foundation. This is totally already in existing with that beautiful campus and all this facility and having 15,000 students. Now we are trying to project in the future, next 35 years. I think as a private university in Indonesia, the contribution which is made by OP or must be in line with the challenges, the opportunity, and of course we need to see it on the term of way forward. I mean, as well as the other university. Therefore, when we address that from the point of view of engineering, I believe that this actually the real opportunity is there. Just that we do not yet, figure it out in detail. We have to work it out in detail. So our conventional way of doing things may not be the same in the future. Say for instance like this, if you have the laboratory facility in here in Padang or in Malaysia or in Brunei or in Australia, the access to that facility only can be accessed by people that already in that proximity in that particular area. But if, say for instance, I have a student coming from UAE, from Sharjah maybe, or from Arasmah, is it? In UAE. I mean, the facility can be accessed through Prof. Mu'atta's place, whereas they are actually collaboration with us here in Indonesia, in Padang, or in Malaysia, or other place. That actually the future of higher education, to my prediction. So we cannot do it alone anymore. And in that sense, I think what is done by people in the area already set up a collaboration. And if you like it, you call it an extension of your university in that particular place. So place, time is no longer valid now. If we said it is morning in Australia or it's afternoon in Australia, it's morning in UAE, and it is also morning in UK, it means that we still have to do business. And with that, I have some proposal later on when the time is given again to me. I think I will already spend my 7-10 minute, moderator Bu Vivi.
Yeah, I think so, Prof.
I will try to give it in detail later on.
Okay.
But my message is that in the future we have to collaborate more intense, especially for engineering, because then we can just broadcast this, depending on the system that we have, we can broadcast it into virtually everywhere in the world. Maybe in Alaska, time zone, make it will not be a barrier for us. We can do asynchronous lecture. We can do it, but also can be do unsynchronous. So with that, I think I will not telling in detail yet. But if there is opportunity later on, I will go a little bit more detail on the proposal that I would like to share with everybody here. Okay. And I hope that Bu Vivi, somebody will take note on this, that it will be our historical move in the future, because I hope that it's not the only time that we are meeting together. There will be a follow-up, a series of follow-up. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Excellent, Prof. Eri. And so when we conclude the Prof. Eri's presentation, that's saying that we need to have synchronization and collaboration around the world. It's very fantastic idea, and we need to follow up. And then I move to the fourth speaker. Without further ado, I call Dr. Muattas Al-Haza. And Dr. Muattas received his PhD in manufacturing engineering from IIUM Malaysia in 2012. He started his career as a quality control engineer at the Ministry of Industry at 83 to 86. He has appointed as an assistant lecturer at the University of Technology, Production and Metallurgy Department Industrial Engineering, Baghdad, Iraq, from 1988 to 2000. Now he joined the American University of Ras Al Khaimah, UAE, in September 2019 up to date. Without further ado, I call Dr. Muattas to give insightful presentation to all of us here.
Okay. First of all, thank you. Good morning, because in UAE now is 10 a.m.
Okay.
And first of all, I want to thank everybody and thank you them organizing for inviting me to this very interesting webinar and event. And before I talk, I was just want to share with you that I spent 12 years in Malaysia. So when I get this invitation, I was very happy to see my friends, my colleague, my from Indonesia, from Malaysia. So I'm very happy and grateful for this invitation. I will share for you with you my experience, and then I give you some points about the challenges and the opportunities that I feel that it is important to share with you. I am working in the Department of Industrial and Mechanical Engineering, which we are conducting 3 programs, 2 undergraduate and 1 master of project management, which is I involved in this project in mostly, I'm teaching about 3 subjects in the last semester. And this course having some specialties because all students are working students. So our classes was in Saturday and Friday. So when this issue happened, our classes was online. So the students was very happy actually, but we feel some difficulties because you know that master students, all they are working students. So, but the problem was in the assessment procedure, how to evaluate and how to be sure that the students are fulfill the requirements because we have to fulfill also the accreditation and the requirements. So there are many things we have to consider. Of course, the students and their feedback, they all want to be 100% online in the future because they are already satisfied receiving the knowledge when they are sitting in their home, in their workstation. But for us was very headache to be fairness and responsible to say that we fulfill the requirements. However, it was a very good experience. We try our best to do, of course, the supporting from the university and the government here in UAE was very high. I can say it is very high standards. They try to give all support through the equipments, through the systems, through the rules, all the things that we need, we got it. But of course, this issue happened before we having any preparation. So the future will be different actually. The future, we need to be more well established. I'm more talking about the challenges. Sooner, as Prof. Mary say, we will find that our programs will be offered from well-established universities and coming to our area and attracting our students with less cost. I'm talking now, as Prof. Eri say, that it is a business. We cannot say it is only education. It is business, education, it is integrated. So we will find that there will be a challenge for us. We have to be more creative, more innovative, and Prof. Eri highlighting very important, we have to be collaborate with others to be in the level of challenge and not because our students, if they're having an offer from a well-established university, well-known university, the same that we did, then they will go there. So we have to be cooperative. We have to be more innovative. We have to, in my opinion, the new system will be not like before COVID-19 and not like we are teaching now. It will be a hybrid system. We have to be aware about the requirements of the, and we have not also not to forget the accreditations rules and requirements because we have to fill. When we are talking about undergraduate and laboratories, we have to think about this one. So, in my opinion, we have to take this opportunity to have our own cooperative and innovative systems to be on the level of and satisfy our students and deliver also the knowledge in the level that will be accepted from and expected from the students. Because we are preparing the students to go to the work, and then we have to be aware about their levels of knowledge and aware about the level of their skills and the way that they will be conducting our work. I don't know, but in my opinion, the experience was very highly challenging for us as a lecturer to be in the level of expectation of the students and universities and the ministries of our that we are they are responsible of us. I don't know if I give my it's less than maybe 5 minutes or
Okay, you will have another a few more minutes.
okay. So then we will should not close our eyes about the future. We have to know that the challenge is there. The market is a challenge, and we will. And I can see some universities. I received some emails, some advertisement that some universities are offering with less cost, and there are a very high, big names actually. So we have to be more creative, more innovative to be in the level of this challenge. And thank you very much.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Wonderful. Appreciate it. And yeah, we agree that impact of the pandemic give us more challenging situation, and because we need to have a hybrid, and then also we need to be more creative and uh, more what do you call straight, keep forward. And then because I know that that opinion that humanity course is now is becoming very popular than engineering. So this is it is quite challenging for us actually. Maybe we can hear from another speaker who would like to share with us the a good point of view. We call Dr. Iswandaru Widiatmoko. Dr. Iswandaru is a technical director leading the materials R&D team at the Center of Excellence in Asset Consultancy of ICOM UK. He is responsible for directing and managing technical staff and ensuring quality assurance, health and safety and environment management system that have been applied in all projects. In the last 20 years, he has been a research manager and principal investigator, providing technical support and training and research and development in highway, motorsport, airport pavement, and bridge surfacing materials. Very interesting domain, actually. And then without further ado, we call Dr. Iswandaru Widiatmoko. Please welcome.
Thank you for the introduction. Can I use slides presentation?
Go ahead, please.
Let me try to share my screen.
Okay.
It is disabled. Can we make this facility to me to enable the sharing screen?
The organizer, please. Please allow Dr. Daru to share the screen. Dr. Daru, did you find any green? Okay, good.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Now it is okay.
Okay. I think it's okay now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you
one
very
second.
much. Yes.
1 second. Let me just try to share my screen. Right. Hopefully everybody can see my screen. Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. Today I would like to share with you about the impact from pandemic to construction industry practices and how this may change in industry expectation from our engineering graduates. So for today, these are the sequence of my sharing sessions. So we'll start with identifying the disruption even before the pandemic and then during the pandemic, and what would be the anticipated new normal. And then rapid adaptation of digitization in design, and then expectation from engineering graduates. And hopefully I will have time to summarize all these topics. So let's start from the situation before the pandemic. In the last 5 years, we have seen some disruption in our industry. We have been made aware of at least 3 main disruptions in construction industry. These are related to digitization, industrialization, and globalization. Just give you a snapshot of some technology which has been identified to improve the productivities in the industry, including in this case, construction industry. We have come across more modular construction, use of advanced smart materials, 3D printing, autonomous equipment, more connected equipment, remote monitoring, use of big data, and also building information modeling. That's before the pandemic. Then what happened during the pandemic? Whether this disruption has been stopped by the pandemic, the preliminary indication that we found, at least the observation from the industry, that the characteristics of the COVID-19 pandemic actually inducing or even increasing some disruptions. And then the question has been how people go around these new restrictions under this pandemic situation, particularly to those who need to deliver essential services in construction, road projects, industry. So what has been done is to improve safety. So obviously this is the main things that has been considered during the pandemic. Physical distancing has been put in place. So more contactless and remote working has been a new normal in the industry. Working in large group of laborer has been avoided. So minimize the number of people on site. And there has been some transformation from labor-based construction to more contactless automation, which rely upon more use of technologies like sensors, robots, and drones. So how about the government priorities? So apparently government from the government side, digital infrastructures and the need to have self-sufficient energy sourcing have become priorities, especially in many developed countries. No doubt, other countries will follow this trend. Hence, what has been forecasted by the industry trying to look into what might happen after the pandemic is over. The disruptions is expected to be ongoing, and there will be more disruptions in the industry. We can expect this short list of short-term and long-term disruptions to find their way to become our new ways of living and become standard, like digitization, organization across the industry, already shifting towards more remote ways of working. And for instances, designers and engineers now rely more heavily on digital collaboration, just like what we are doing here. We are trying to collaborate via digital means. And in engineering, we can use something like BIM, for example, building information modeling. And contractors already starting using application to monitor their staff well-being to do their procurement and to manage their cash flow. And then managing supply chains is an important priorities in the industry because of a lot of disruptions in the supply chains at the moment. And then before the pandemic, the industry already faced shortage of skilled labor, especially this in Western world. With the prospect of further rolling physical distancing measures and restrictions on cross-border labor movement, these skilled labor shortages will become even more a problem. Thus, this will lead or trigger further investment in technologies and innovation. And also there has been an increased use of off-site construction. So this is a new trend in the industry that are picking up their pace. From the government side, the government may stimulate economy by encouraging measures to make carbon reduction, which is high on the green agenda. So this will accelerate further toward sustainability, including designs to promote healthier living. So where we are now living in two worlds, the real world and the virtual ones. Here, I'm not referring to the life in the world of Facebook, for example, but in the next slides, I will quickly show some examples how this may affect our way of living, especially in construction world. Those who like video gaming, we are quite familiar with playing immersive video gaming, whereby we can play roles within the games and carry out our actions. But today, design and execution of construction have embraced similar approach that used in video games, where designers, contractors, and stakeholders can immerse into design process from start to finish. I'll give you some examples in a minute. These slides actually give an overview of benefits from digitization, specifically efficiency in saving, in time, and cost. Also, this can help for non-technical stakeholders to understand complex design. I'll give you an example in a minute. This shows an example about a new construction off-road tunnel under a historic site, Stonehenge, where AECOM has been involved in this project for the last 2 years. Visualization has been used in this project as well as in many projects as a means to facilitate engagement between different parties during the process and to provide better understanding to the client, to the stakeholders, what can be expected in the outcome of the projects. Here, everybody can immerse into the projects, and using visualization, they can imagine what they are going to see when they are traveling underneath the tunnel or within the tunnel, and after leaving the tunnel and the surrounding. So that's the beauty of visualization, something that has been picking up, being used more and more on large projects. So what happened during the construction? Implementations of digitization in construction is also well in progress in UK, Europe, and elsewhere, capturing digitized construction record from start to completion. And in the future, this will form part of life cycle assessment of automated smart roads, where sensors are fitted to provide feedback on road condition in case maintenance required, or if there was any incidents require particular attention in a real time. Also, from the manufacturing industry, construction plant manufacturers, they started designing automation in connected autonomous construction equipment. This will be another disruption to construction workforce. Particularly, there would be risk for unemployment for labor or operators, but new opportunities for those who develop equipment and manufacturing facilities. So in summary, these are the technologies which our graduates must be aware of. In the new normal, barrier between countries will be less relevant. Global and more connected activities will become more routine. Thus, higher competition which require greater collaborative skills. And this show the constellation, 4 main constellation in technologies which might happen in the near future. It's already start happening. Digital twins, 3D printing, artificial intelligence, supply chain optimization. So what we can expect from the graduates? To manage expectation from industry, graduate must possess skills in collaborative works. This pandemic has enforced everyone to work collaboratively. Collaboration is a new competition in the new normal. How to engage in collaboration effectively? These are some of the soft skills that need to be considered by the graduates. Being proactive, creative, good communication, and present good team working culture. So in a summary, recent pandemic has accelerated adoption in digitization in construction industry, and universities and their graduates should recognize these challenges and opportunities and capture their potential. And collaborative approach can be used as a means to face these challenges. And incorporating these technologies into the curricula for the university can help graduates to face future challenges. If anyone would like to know more a bit, on Construction 4.0, there is a short article that's been published by Ristek Dikti in 2018 that can be downloaded from the internet from this link. And with this, I would end my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Iswan Daru. It was very excellent, perfect presentation because we have different point of view from the industry from industry sector point of view. So it is it is quite challenging for us actually. And then how we integrate our education system with the industry virtual reality, and then what we are running now, and then we should look into that, of course. And I'm going to the next presenter, Associate Professor Dr. Irwanda Lowry. Dr. Irwanda, he is an Associate Professor of Civil Engineering School of Engineering University of Warwick, Coventry since 2018. Dr. Irwanda received his PhD from Switzerland. His research interests on structural health monitoring, earthquake engineering, disaster mitigation, and many more in data analytics. He has received few paper awards and secured the UK grants with the fantastic amount of funding. So please welcome our speaker, Dr. Irwanda.
Okay, hello everyone. Thank you very much for the
Right.
nice introduction from the moderator. And also I would like to thank YPTK and the organizer and all the participants. It's a great pleasure for me to again participate in this excellent webinar. To start, I would like to please allow me to share my screen. I'll now try to click the button. Okay. Yeah. Okay, let me, yes. Okay, so before I start, a little bit about myself. I was born actually in South Sulawesi, in Makassar, and then grew up in Papua. So actually, my hometown is a small town in Papua from Sorong. If you don't know Sorong, perhaps you know Raja Ampat. So if you want to visit Raja Ampat, you have to land in the airport in Sorong. And then I obviously continue my undergrad in Bandung ITB, later on master in Germany, EPFN finally at Warwick. So Warwick itself, a small introduction, because even for myself, prior coming to Warwick, I actually don't know where Warwick is. Warwick is actually a quite relatively young university. It was founded in 1965, so it's only, should I say, around 20 years older than YPTK, so it's not that old. It's located right in the middle of the country. It's only an hour by train from London and 20 minutes from Birmingham Airport. So With regards to COVID in higher education in the UK, from the government's point of view, or what has been done by the government, it's, I have to say, a lot. For example, the government has published a number of, or a good number of guidelines for higher education. Here, okay, I'll try to click the link. So in this website, one can find, again, a number of guidelines provided by the government. And this is open for public, so anyone can access these documents. So anyone who's interested can actually go to this website and download the documents. It ranges from risk assessment, protocols, health and safety, to well-being of staff and students, as well as financial support from the government to, or for institutions that are struggling due to COVID, and also for students that are, again, the same thing, financially struggling for COVID. I have to admit, I haven't gone through all these documents, so I don't know the details of each and every of these documents. But again, if anyone is interested, you can always go to this website and download the files, okay? But it's pretty much the physical distancing protocols, financial well-being, etc. So after this, with this, I'll then would like to continue to what we have here at the University of Warwick. Of course, we are talking about the higher education and how COVID-19, all this pandemic actually impacted our day-to-day practice, as well as what is coming in the future. So as we all know, in this pedagogical, or I could say academic world, in terms of teachings and also learning processes, there are a number of delivery models available out there. One can choose whatever is suitable for the institution and the students, taking into consideration the whole environmental situation and etc. Here at Warwick, we do have our strongly preferred approach. Although I have to say, in the UK, I think the lockdown started at the end of March. So for most university, it's pretty much the last 1 or 2 weeks of the term, or the last couple of weeks of the semesters. So we are lucky in the sense that most of our teaching has been done, practical, etc. So what is left, it's mostly revision classes and the exams, etc. So it's for most programs. So what we provision here at Warwick for the continuing process, moving on with this COVID-19, etc., is actually, firstly, it's more of a blended delivery, more of a online, offline, a combination of many things. And we, as previously mentioned by Professor Ari, is actually this approach, or asynchronous delivery type of teaching or learning process. I think we can discuss later on in more details, and I'm sure quite of us are quite familiar the trade-offs between synchronous and asynchronous delivery of teaching or type of learning. There's always trade-off, and here at Warwick, the tendency is more into asynchronous approach, while one of the reasons is with the synchronous or a real-time live streaming of lectures. For example, one would have quite often technical, student experience, logistic type of issues. So asynchronous, and even prior to COVID-19, we have been going towards this direction. We are recording all our lectures and all our activities. We are providing materials to our students prior to the lectures. So at least for my modules, for example, for my classes, the face-to-face learning or teaching process would be heavily focused more into discussions. So materials and everything are we already made available beforehand. So we'll be able to reach more of what do we say, student engagement in that sense. But of course, this is no replacements, as mentioned by the previous speakers, to face-to-face activities or interaction with students. And on this slide, actually highlighted lab and practice-based learning. This is one of the main concerns that we have, in particular in engineering education, that we can't, this is something that we can't avoid or we can't live without this lab and practice, more hands-on approach and etc., especially in engineering. And what we also do is actually here at Warwick, we reduce a number of optional modules because we understand, we fully acknowledge that all these changes, transition, etc., basically lead to more or heavier load to the academics because, for example, not everyone is providing, prior to COVID, providing videos, for example, lecture videos in their teaching. Although later on the lecture itself will be lecture captured and made available to students. But here, I think during the transition and I think moving forwards, we all, at least here at Warwick, will be required to generate or produce our own lecture videos and then to be made available and everything. But I think even prior to COVID-19, everything is already online in terms of submissions, assessment. Another new thing, it's actually library resources. So we're trying to make all the necessary textbook required for our teaching to be available online because, of course, for these current situations, the students are unable to go to the library, for example. So I think it's quite, that would be from me. Again, I would like to thank the organizer for this opportunity, and I'm very much excited and looking forward to the discussions later on after this. Okay, thank you very much. So I'll stop sharing.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Irwanda. Actually, this is very insightful, and we know that what that have been implemented in the Warwick and flip learning need to be implemented, and then as well as hybrid, we have a recorded lecture, as well as we will have a face-to-face, especially for the lab session. Okay, so thank you very much for all the presenters, and that is very insightful and thoughtful sharings to us today. I would like to come to the second round. I have received some question and casted to the specific speaker. Okay, let me start with Dr. Irwanda first. Can I?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay, so what is your strategy to adjust with new changes while keep productive in the transition into the new normal? And how does the preparation from the university for employees, such as lecturers and staff, during this transition?
It's a very good question. I think for me personally, I know it's a bit of a cliche, but I would like, I mean, the way I'm addressing this current situation is I'll try my best to be more realistic. I'm acknowledging the situation. I'm accepting the fact that I will not be able to be working or to be productive. How should I say, to be able to conduct my day-to-day basis in full capacity. So at first, I think it's important to accept that and then try to be realistic, to set goals that are realistic. And then obviously, and again, it's another cliche, but I think it quite works for me and quite a number of people surrounding me, around me. So it's, I think that's the two key points: be realistic and prioritize. Thank you.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, so you know what, we have of course engineering. I mean, engineering course. We will have hands-on lab. Okay,
Mm.
and yeah. So in this condition that we are aware that we need to convert the hands-on lab to be
Yes.
simulation or e-labs.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. So I think there's a number of options available to address this. Another advantage of having this asynchronous approach in learning is actually, since we don't have it in real time, so we provide lecture videos, etc., so students can learn at their own pace. At the same time, we actually have more flexibility in terms of timetabling. So, for example, there is this physical distancing protocol in the lab that um, we have to follow,
Comply.
and
Yeah,
then there's only limited number of students. So
exactly.
one way is actually to have more sessions
All right.
with smaller cohort. If the that's and this is possible because we have more flexibility in timetable for the events or for the lab sessions. And if this is even not possible, we are also thinking about a more semi-interactive lab sessions where we have lecturers and teaching assistants doing the lab. Of course, this needs to be supported by lots of, how should I say, a supporting technology, camera, etc. And then that can be done live with the respective students, and the students can be more interactive with the teaching assistant. They can think, they can decide and let, for example, the teaching assistant, okay, oh, this is what we're going to do. What do you think should be done next? So there is some interaction between the activities in the lab and the students. And this, of course, as mentioned by Prof. Eri as well, there's whole, and the other panelists, there's all this range of opportunities within the VR and AR as well. And as you mentioned, this virtual type of lab session. So there are a number of options, I think, that can be explored in this, for this particular issue. Yeah.
Yeah, but when I implemented to my students, they
Mm,
were not happy at all, because they like to have hands-on and then
that's,
hands-on app. Yeah, so I
yes, that's
understand that.
very true.
Yeah, yeah, this is quite challenging for us. Thank you,
Mm,
Dr. Iwanda.
you
And
will.
I think that I move to Dr. Muatas. Are you there?
Yes.
Okay, we have question for you actually. How your fellow staff and students react to this COVID-19 protocol? How much does this protocol affect your teaching and learning, and how to improve on this?
Actually, as I said, that for master courses, it was more the students were more satisfied and the lecturer, but the load on the lecturer was high. Actually, we are working double actually because the student feel that they are have the rights to interact us every time. I sometimes through Microsoft, I receive a call 12 to 11 p.m. or 12 a.m. They feel that this is the way that. But we was understanding the new situation, so we accept this one. But later on, after 1 or 2 weeks, we conduct some groups. Of course, we having a consultation with our now we have to put another consultations hour, but in different way. In undergraduate, also there are some, though I didn't undergraduate in this semester, but I know my colleague and my fellow that they was offering from something that the students still having, maybe for many reasons. They say, okay, especially the assessment, and the evaluation. They feel that very difficulties to having a fairness evaluation. Of course, this is, we have to learn. We have to learn also as we have to learn from our experience. We have to document this one and to take actions in the future for this, how to evaluate, how to assist. The main problem, as many of our colleagues here highlighted, is about the labs. The labs is the most important things because usually face to face. And so how we conduct this one, they try to make some virtual experience, but still is not fulfill the requirement. So I don't know well the future. There are some suggestions that the labs will be many sections. So it is again, we go to the hybrid system. The labs should be conducted physically. We cannot say that. And we can also, like properly say, cooperate with others, universities, which is the nearest. How we have to find, again, I say to you, this is a challenge. We have to be more creative. We have to see how to fulfill the requirements. I don't know if I answered the question or still something that I did not answer.
Okay, yeah. So I think that to student react with this protocol, I mean, with 1.5 meter distancing in the lab is also difficult, you know, because they need to work on group anyway. Correct or not?
This is one of the solutions, is to make more than one section.
I see.
Yeah, separate the students. This is one
Okay.
of solutions that we from others colleagues.
Yeah, and then you know what? Also, it's quite hard for us to assess psychomotor, what do you call psychomotor activity. So yeah, so this is another challenging for the COVID-19 protocol for the lab actually.
This is true. This is true.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Muatas. And then I will move to Dr. Bambang. Are you there?
Yes, I.
Okay, welcome back. And in integrating technology for the learning system, how to maintain educational quality? What would be the long-term impact of these teaching practices on the future of education?
Okay, so I think as explained before, there's it's not just from the course level, it's from the university level, go down to the kind of like lecture activity. So the university need to probably means the important is provides the support, right, in terms of the technology itself. Remember, the university probably have the some university have the capacities financially and others, right? But not necessarily some other university or even students, right? As well as means the reliability of the technology itself, the telecommunication technology. And we'll see now that every time we want to do some things, and then the connections went down, right? So that's probably need to also be improved in the future. But again, it means now because the current deliveries mode that we have in all, if not most of not all university is face-to-face, right? Exactly. So suddenly we have to move. So we're not prepared for that. And then we have second semester here in Australia, or first semester for Northern Hemispheres. The decision is still not clear. Because we should either we should go back to face-to-face or online or both, right? Okay. Because if both, as Professor Muata said, is difficult for the academic staff, right? Preparations and others. Transitions take more time, right? So work from home is actually work every times, right? Every hours. As what Dr. Prata said, means student expected that you respond. So the first few weeks, depressing for some of my colleagues, for example, means after that we just say, Weekend, we don't answer, we don't open the emails, right? Say for example, that kind of thing. So that's also important to understand that if we want to design for that, I mean, we go to, for example, pure online, man, there's way to do it. Hybrids, there's way to do it. But I think, as I mentioned before, we know, we can see that there is an opportunity to what Professor Muatta says, hybrid, right? So if we allow to do that, we can do the model. We can design in the course level, for example, the hybrids means combination of virtual collaborations, right? I think some university have in there some engineering courses in high to do the design, right? And then also curriculum probably need to be revisited.
I see.
Okay, I think Dr. Daru mentioned about the technologies and how in the future. So if the curriculum is still the same, like particularly in our beloved countries, right, with so many courses, and then probably it's not really related to current technologies, it's difficult for us. So, for example, if you want to, it's about the skill or capability of design. So we need to understand what the students or graduates need and use when they graduates later on, right? So the curriculum need to be designed to do that, not yet going backwards and then see, oh, you have to learn this and that, test it by 2-hour exam, 3-hour exam, multiple choice, and so on. Now, so we to look at the curriculums and how we can utilize and optimally use this technology. So curriculum need to be addressed, and then the academics need to also be kind of like upgrade in terms of some of the skills, right? Because many of us is also scared about technologies, right? Some of us is just don't know. If we have to teach, for example, facing computers, camera, we don't know whether the students actually still there, right? Or they already been away, okay?
Exactly.
So there's different things. So we need to also learn, and the students also. I mean, the students, we just think, we probably assume the younger generations are all with technologies. Not at all. I mean, not all of them, right? They still want to physically or interact with their friends, their classmates, their lecturers, right? Especially those who just started, right? They still not been, so that's, it's important where how we can. So in combinations probably is the key or the answer. So identify the options, and then hopefully then by then we can be better, right?
Yeah. Yeah, Dr. Bambang. But yeah, so if we talk about the exam, exam, it is very painful for us to set the question anyway, because the readiness, it comes from the readiness of the staff or the academic itself, the readiness for the students. It's very painful, This is, I can share with you my experience. And
so I'm very fortunate
error.
for the last few years. I don't have to prepare exam because I don't actually coordinate undergraduate courses. So I avoid having exam. So because I look after capstone course, so it's good. So I have all report.
Integrated. Yeah. So lucky you.
Yeah,
you are not,
but remember, assessing that kind of assessment, it takes times.
Exactly.
And it can be very painful.
Exactly. And then because you are handling the integrated project design, so means you need to coordinate with other staff member, isn't it?
If you do have, if you do that, yes, of course,
Yeah. So again, another challenging, to involve them anyway. Thank you, Dr. Bambang. So I think that you answer all the question, and I think I need to move to Dr. Iswandaru. Due to the result of pandemic, how may this pandemic affect the quality of graduates? And then what sort of competency may be at stake when students graduate under this COVID-19 protocol? And how you deal with this? And as you work at industry sector linked with education, we would like to know your point of view with respect to this matter.
Yeah, thanks for the questions. I think in terms of quality of the graduates, it would be quite difficult for me to say.
Okay.
I can only learn from the number of graduates that we've been able to interview, and there are some qualities of graduates that industry would like to see as a standard. This is before the pandemic. Okay. So apart from the technical competency, which would be up to the universities and the graduates to organize that, the industry would normally expect the graduates to have what you call soft skill, not necessarily related to technical bits, but the soft skill. Uh, Even before the pandemic, the first questions would be, have you worked as a part of the team? Have you got experience in doing this, in doing that? So the issue with or the challenge during the pandemics would be for the graduates to have that experience in working as part of the team or as part of the project. Before the pandemics, companies like Ecom receiving graduates usually approaching summer or during summer times to do their summer times project experience working for 2 months, for example. And this is difficult to organize now. So that would be something that is missing. Um, but then there are other ways, i.e. Trying to do the experience on what you call it, project basis or on more on to design basis, whereby you can actually do it remotely. So the skill that the graduates need to prepare is something that I already highlighted. One is, well, team working is an essence. Number two is communication. Communication, face-to-face communication, often quite difficult. Remote communication, even more difficult. So this skill needs to be developed so that whenever we communicate, we, we can still have a good engagement with the other parties. And also, key thing is it's got to be clear and we have confidence in what we would like to say during this communication. So that's what is expected from the graduates. So there's no misunderstanding. Technologies, obviously, this is something that is already almost like a given nowadays. That everybody need uh, to up to date with their skill in managing technologies, at least in terms of communication remotely. We will have a lot of virtual working collaborations in the near future or even in the long future. It's going to be a new normal. So that's something that graduates need to consider. I agree with Prof. Bambang said about when he mentioned updating the curriculum. We cannot keep on having the curriculum with suited in the 70s or 80s. We are now in the 21st century. It's, the world works in a different way now, especially with globalization. I think that's something that universities need to consider, the impacts on globalizations. Whilst our graduates might be thinking, I just want to work here, I'm not going to move from my city, or I'm not going to work in other countries, but with globalization, actually work being done across the border. Big companies like Ecom, for example, sublet many of their work to India in their global delivery services, for example. And that require good communications, up-to-date skill of the engineers, graduates from India. Can Indonesia do that? They should be able to do that. Indonesia has got so many 200 plus million people, and how many of them are engineers? But then key communication, hence Indonesian should know the language for the communication, more likely to be English or other language, but also as well as the soft skill of doing the communication itself. So that's my comments. Thank you.
Okay. Excellent, Dr. Daru. And then actually, I have a question on board. It is from the student's perspective, how students can survive with the situation.
Can I start?
Yeah, please.
How student can survive?
Yeah.
I think one is student must accept that the situations is now different from the old normal. Student must accept there will be more challenges, there will be more disruptions. So
Exactly.
students must be prepared for that. So that's
Okay.
how the students should react to the situation. It's up to them how they want to prepare for that. If they prepare it well, then they will survive. If they don't prepare it well, they will just follow the flow, which means greater risk for them in terms of not achieving what they would like to achieve.
And then what should we do to help our students who is living in the remote area with a limited access for the internet, intermittent connection? So it is hard for them actually. So what is your opinion on this?
Is that question for me or to whom?
Yeah,
Everyone?
you can answer, please.
Well, I suppose when I said about globalization, this is more for those who's got access to it. If somebody live in a remote area, probably if it is very, very remote, less likely to be affected by the pandemic, so life will continue as normal. But if they would like to engage with outside world, then they must find a means to communicate with the outside world. Well, as a minimum, telephone connection should be there. If there is no mobile connection, then I think, they just have to start within their own community or local community. So
I think that I think any other opinion from other
Yes,
speakers?
if I may add, I think this is one
Sure,
of the advantage of having this asynchronous approach. So actually, I've heard this from many friends in Indonesia. There's this issue about access to internet, for example, for live streaming in terms of teaching. So one quick way around it is actually if we have pre-recorded videos, lectures, then although again, this is it will help, but at the same time, it will never be a replacement for face-to-face activities. But what we can do is actually, if we have these pre-recorded lectures or videos, then we can have the limited amount, for example, face-to-face activities that can be very much optimized and be done efficiently. So again, as mentioned by the others, it's difficult to teach online. There's no real interaction. We don't know whether they're still there or whatever it is, and it's hard to talk to a camera, etc. But again, if we have these beforehand pre-recorded ones and then face-to-face, it's, as you said, it's a flip classroom. I think that's one way of addressing it, and it might work. So yeah, and I have to say that in Indonesia, this well, not only Indonesia, globally, the young ones, including myself, I hope that people are learning differently compared to more the conventional learning activities in the past. So I think the young ones these days more comfortable. Even myself, although I'm not that young anymore, I'm very much comfortable learning from YouTube because I miss my student times. I miss having someone explaining stuff to me, because I think this is one thing that students don't realize at the moment, that this is actually a privilege to be able to sit and have someone explain stuff to you. And I think in industry, in real life practice later on after university, they won't have such luxury. So I think, yeah, and perhaps this is a necessary change, a transition that is actually will come anyway. So COVID-19 is perhaps just a trigger, something that will actually happen in any case. So it's just, I'm aware it's hard at the beginning. I mean, to generate video lecture, etc. It does take a good amount of our effort and time. But I think in the long run, it will work really. Imagine if we have the videos for this year
easily.
and the following ones, we can just use it. And then when we come, like
reuse.
you said, in the flip class, we just discussed about the material, etc. And it's much more easier when we have changes, update the curriculum. And again, I adore the term that we are using in this webinar about collaboration, started by Prof. Eli, that actually not just higher education, we will need or will be required to collaborate with all other sectors, industry, governments, and many things. Yeah, that'll be fun.
Okay.
Thank you.
I have the last question in my hand now. How to build communication between learning graphic design with technical lesson? Because I think that this is a good integration for the future for academics in Indonesia. So how to build communication between learning graphic design with technical lesson?
Ibu Vivi, can I interject a little bit?
Okay.
Please. Actually, our other speaker, Prof. Muhammad Yaakob Ali from Brunei, already
in.
So if you get give an opportunity for him,
of course,
because there's a technical problem earlier.
I see. Yeah,
he
yeah.
struggled to put in and to go in, but not successful. So if you may,
yeah, we have time, Prof. Actually, so we can, of course, we welcome Professor Yaakob.
Yes.
He's there. Yes.
Yeah, let me introduce you first, Prof. And Professor Muhammad Yaakob is one of our speaker. And Professor Muhammad Yaakob received his PhD at Nanyang Technology University. He has joined International Islamic University Malaysia in 2004 as an assistant professor and been promoted to associate professor and then professor in 2007 and 2011 respectively. Since 2012, he is the head of administer Department of Manufacturing and Materials Engineering at the University Technology Brunei. Without further ado, please welcome Professor Muhammad Yaakob.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
So this is my presentation now or continue discussion?
Okay, I think that if you have, short presentation, we still have time.
So give me 2 minutes because I am switching computer from one to another anyway.
Yeah, if he's doing 2 minutes, then can I fill in this gap of 2 minutes?
Yeah, I think that there is, I already casted the question for you, Professor Eri. And how is the recruitment process for the prospective students? How does the university manage student mobility activities and international partnership during this transition? How you deal with this?
All right, thank you very much. I think this is a very interesting part of this discussion, because not only in Indonesia, but all over the world, I think they are facing the same thing, which is together the financial crisis, together with the COVID-19, they're coming together, join hands together. When we are the one that severely attacked by this, if you like, the terminology, by these two. But then it's not alone for Indonesia, but also Australia, I think, have got this problem also, and then UK also, because most of this country, both UK and Australia, depending heavily on the, what is it called, foreign student, international student, as well as Malaysia. Now, while Indonesia, they have their own stake, their own of 5.5 million students, local only. So that also be affected. So if I am going to zoom in into this program, I think we have to change. We have to change together, not only change the way we are teaching the students, but also the way we are actually recruiting the student as well as the lecture. If we only partly doing it, then we are in trouble. I'm thinking, or we are thinking, the future must be totally, what is it called, changed. Otherwise, we will not be survived. Because the world that we are facing in the future is not at all the same. So if I may refer to the one that already been asked earlier to the previous speaker, that when it will be stopped, I don't think it will come back to normal again. I mean, not literally what is happening in the past. We have to move forward with this new system because the virus will be there with us. We have to avoid the virus with all this protocol. At the same time, we have to modify the way we are thinking and we are teaching. Not only the way we are conducting the lecture, but also the way we are trying to come with it, if we may term the education system itself. So to educate now is a new normal, it's new things altogether. This is my personal feeling that in the future, the world of segmented market for this particular university and those particular university will not be the same anymore. I know that what is it called? MIT already started the courseware long time ago, free, to be accessed. Excellent, MIT modules can be downloaded from their website very effectively. In the future, when you said the terminology of your student, which one your student? It not will be the same anymore with the same terminology. The student that registered to university, maybe the student will take something from MIT, will take from Warwick, take from some of them taking from what is it called, from UAE, and also maybe from other places like UTB. That kind of students there will be in the future. So no more you have this privilege of having, this is my own student, they will graduate with it. No, but the way that we have to anticipate that actually to see the learning process as a whole. The learning itself already changed.
So the best way, Prof, so the best way for us to assume that the situation is not going back as a normal like before, isn't it?
That's my prediction. I mean, if you have this, if you see the COVID-19, problem only for certain countries, they are coming down. But then I think slowly there'll be, changing in attitude of this thing. If you're, have to stop the students from learning.
Okay.
No, my granddaughter just having this online, what is it called, graduation just a few minutes ago. This is totally different, funny, because just using the head in front of the camera and things like that. That's actually never happened before. And then in the future, I think most likely to me, we have to change the mind of recruiting the students. It's no longer you have the absolute control of the student, because therefore, my message is be specific on what you're delivering. It means niche area. Very super niche area. What is the niche area that you are to deliver to your students? Then other thing they can pick up from other place. So let them be like that. If you really be known by the best infrastructure, competence on road pavement technology, then people will stop from your university. The rest they'll pick up from other university. That's just a example, because I'm not a civil engineer myself. So therefore I cannot say that one particular thing that will be your very niche area. If you're still doing this business, sooner or later, you'll be out of the business totally, because it's like the dinosaurs. You're not changed. You're not following this new, to adapt this new situation. Whereas this, conventional like badak maybe survive for many 1,000 years. Yeah. So with that, I think this is what my perception. So recruitment at the moment will be different. I may recruit people from UAE, for instance, then be my students. And the other way around, there's somebody will be registered with Warwick, and for MIT student to be, taking student from Padang maybe.
Yes,
exactly. That's new things. If you still with people in France saying "keke," with the thing that we are recruiting students, this is going to conventional way of selling your service, then I don't think you'll be that long to survive. Okay, the thing.
I think we got your point. And can we come back to Prof. Muhammad Eka?
Sharing is
Okay, please.
disable participant screen sharing. How to share the screen?
Okay.
The PowerPoint. Say host disable participant sharing the screen.
There is a green button.
Yeah.
Below, and then you just start share your screen.
One participant can share at a time. So somebody else sharing or what?
Yourself sharing, sir.
Okay. Share.
All right. Yeah. We can see your slide now.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
I prepared very brief slide, and I should be very brief again because I lost my time. I'm sorry that I couldn't join from my account at all. Okay, always say your name is deleted. Anyway, I have then use other people account, my daughter's account, I log in. Anyway, thank you. So, presentation outline overview of COVID-19 in Brunei Darussalam. Everybody knows through the information, news, TV, but I will be explaining briefly. An impact of COVID-19 on engineering, higher education. Especially, I will be talking about UTB because it is same basically because we receive instruction from Ministry of Health, Ministry of Education, and all Institute of Higher Learning they are following. So we are one of the entity. To be fair, that I highlight my institute, but you can assume it is similar with others. I'll be talking about classroom teaching, laboratory and project, and assessment, and then challenges, opportunity, and way forward as the title. And then this is the overview that until today there is no new case. It's about 45 days now, and total 141 case in Brunei and 3 death, others recovered. And restrictive measure taken from the beginning. Surau Murshid University closed, but we go online, and country never locked down. And it's a small country, you can see here. A small population, perhaps because of that easy to maintain. And Ministry of Health every day give us update like that. How many recovered, how many dead, new case, something like that. So next is we have higher education university level to university. Then we have Polytechnic Brunei, and then ITV. They also consider higher education of learning. So I will be highlighting that University Technology Brunei, how do they manage this COVID-19 situation for their degree program. So this is a UTB, that it is a brief description of UTB. 1986 established as an institute, Polytechnic. Then 2008 is becoming university, maintained the same name, and 2016 changed the name again. So these are the present situation ranking. Whatever. So university take big challenge to maintain everybody informed about the COVID-19, what to do, what not to do, and also take care of their mental health. Student, lecturer, or others also upset, stress and anxiety. Also they do consultation. And then UTB response to COVID-19. UTB response to COVID-19, basically they make the people few category. Student go home, number one. Staff they categorize into 260 years old and below 60. But if you have chronic disease, they consider vulnerable group to stay at home all the days. And in vulnerable group is below 60, they make into two group. Alternatively, we come to office. We never close the office fully. We come to office, we do online teaching from office or from home, but office running by team management that we divided into two teams. And student can come campus with special permission with supervisor and university authorities. And these things happen especially in the middle of our semester. So half of the semester, about 7 weeks, we need to manage under the COVID situation. And first half was as usual. And then for the case of classroom teaching, we face-to-face class discussion where everything cancelled. Then we go online within the short notice. All lecturer move to online teaching. Mainly we use Microsoft Teams, LMS, and we do some changes, minimum changes to curriculum so that we avoid face-to-face activities. And student gives seminar presentation, everything online, and library software, other thing they have remote access from home. And fortunately, this all system was inbuilt in before in UTB, but we do not practice fully because it was not necessary. But later on, because of COVID, we need to practice. We are thankful to our computer and communication technology center that these things was ready. And then laboratory and project, there's a minor amendment are made. Few experimental and laboratory works which are very, very essential. Also, we do with maintaining the social distance and instruction from Health Ministry. They do experiment in the lab. And the student gives seminar presentation on the lab, whatever, we teach everything online. Example of changes, if you can see that the class test assignment, this was as usual before, but the final exam, this one, 60% weightage, that one we manage, we call control time assignment, control time test. This like take-home examination basically. Some of them assignments, some of them very precise time, we give 2, 3, 4 hours to finish the exam, and they submit online. So these are the changes we made to assessment, and curriculum minor changes so that we can justify. For postgraduate student, stay at home and supervision through Skype, Microsoft Teams, Zoom, telephone, email, and we make clear schedule of submitted work and feedback. The challenges we face that after this online teaching and learning, we have done some survey with the student and community and parents. That is not fully analyzed. Based on that, we have to revise what we have done. And what is next? UTB is ready to continue the similar way if the pandemic is not fully removed. Our plan, our next semester in August. And for lab tutorial, as the class will be online, then we will have more rooms for lab and experimental setup. We have to do very small group. And in the de-escalation period, this time we are running about 50% capacity. All classroom, everything we are doing in double, that they sit down maintaining the social distance. So capacity is simply 50%. And this situation may improve depending on the COVID situation. We don't know. And then the university library is running at 40%. Many things are shorter hours. And we need to enter into the campus with the Brew Health. They have some access, what time we come and what time we go. This is actually preventive measure that if something happens some places, later on they can configure, they can identify how many people were there at that time, on how many people entered into that premises. Because of that, they're keeping the electronic record. God bless, we hope nothing will happen. But if really something happened, they can easily trace who entered, who was where, what time. And in conclusion, to be brief, our main question is when COVID-19 will go. Actually, to be honest, there are a lot of speculation, but we don't know actually the situation. Only Allah knows better when it will be relieved. And we pray Allah's forgiveness so that we can be safe from this disaster. And my condolence, I share my deepest and wholehearted condolence for the deceased and bereaved family due to this pandemic COVID-19, which reshaped our life in one way or another. And basically, I have seen many this is engineering, we are talking about technical things. But when we see these technical things, in addition to that, when we see the socio-economic aspect, is really more damage there, especially adult, teens, children. There is psychological problem or mental problem that may long-term effect on us. So we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that Allah help us, this mankind. So what to do in this situation? We do not give up. We try our best to manage depending on the situation. With that, I end my brief presentation. Thank you very much for allowing me very late to present.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Muhammad Yaakob. Finally, we managed to having you here. And before I come to the end closing, so I have message from the committee that the link for the e-certificate is open now. So please fill up. And the towards to the end, but last but not least, based on the challenges and opportunities that have been mentioned, does every university need to rethink on their crisis management? Maybe speakers would like to add something.
I think Prof. Bambang is have the turn now, because that is even quite so long.
Okay, thank you. I think yes means in terms of crisis management, definitely they have to think, right? Means probably different countries, the university have different challenge. In Australia, one of the main challenge is actually it's not just now. The near future is become a challenge, as I think is addressed before, where the students come. Reliant for international students, so this one is really affecting the way they have to deal. I mean, how to manage the work, and then in terms of our short terms, in probably in how to support all the stakeholders within the university, so things can be still deliver or operate or going on with minimum disruption. So I think that's supporting them. So either whether we have to go, for example, work from home or other conditions. But if we know how to support, because even though we have technologies, means behind the technology, there's still human beings that need to be supported. Okay.
Yeah, I know that the Australian border is open now?
No, I think will not be open until next year. I think in Victoria now we have a concerning kind of like issues, because the positive cases is still double digit now. Wow. Increasing. So even other states within Australia kind of like prohibit people from Victoria to come to their states. So border within states still not really fully open now. So the Prime Minister's only said that as long as the border is not open, I mean, we cannot receive people from overseas. The same with the some university trial bringing international students back. So the Prime Minister said that as long as the students from within Australia cannot go back to universities, so there's no point to bring international students back to Australia. So that's the main point. And at this time, the campuses are all closed. We cannot access campuses. So if we want to come on campuses, the protocol is very, very strict, right? So very strict. I mean, some of you can access, but no, if you want to come, there's a lot of procedure need to be done. And now we start going back to campus, but with the priority of those who cannot be done online. like a practical physical lab and so on, but need to follow a very strict protocols.
Okay, yeah, a very tedious protocol that I know about that. And then, yeah, so any other opinion from other speaker?
Can I give some conclusion?
Okay, yeah, Dr. Multas, please.
This is, we call it uncertainties. We are facing a high uncertainty, and in uncertainties, we having to look two directions, positive and negative. It means threats and opportunities. We have to try to be creative to reduce the threats and to enhance the opportunities that we can capture from this, because there are opportunities to improve the education, engineering education. There is an opportunities, and we try our best to reduce or to decrease the effect of the threats from coming from negative, because there are two sides. We cannot say it is all threats and it is all opportunities. This is my conclusion.
Oh, thank you very much, for the conclusion from you. And then, is there any from other speaker?
There is a hand from Prof. Yaakob, I think.
Yeah, please, Prof. Muhammad Yaakob, please.
Yes. So I think, in my opinion, that cases are very much unique, country to country and within a country, university to university, depending on facilities, their program. I think a general procedure will not work. Everybody have to sit down within the community and they have to devise their plan, because things should be moving on. We cannot stop. And even though we stop, we don't know how long to stop. That's why we cannot stop. If we know that we have to stop for weeks or a month, then we can plan. But we don't know how long. So that's why we should not stop. We should be continuing. And it is to be within the university. They have to, based on their facilities, availability, they have to make some procedures so that they can keep going on. Nobody can follow other example. Maybe somebody have very high-tech facility, other university low-tech, or depending on the population, depending on the program. So everybody have to devise their plan. At UTB, we are planning according to our population. It's a small population. Country also is small. And so far, the government has very good control on things. And so presently, we have no cases, but still, government is very much worried because of second wave in other country. And they also do not want to open border because it can transfer from other country also. So let's see, everybody watching what happen, how we can help each other. Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, Professor. And
three other moderators, sorry.
Yeah.
Dr. Daru and Prof. Irwanda yet to give their final remarks.
Oh yeah, please.
By the way, both from UK.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Prof. Let me start first. I just want to reiterate about what I said in my sharing sessions, that collaboration is the new normal, and everybody, I think, agree based on our discussion today. So this is the time of opportunity to improve our collaborative working practices.
Yes.
As everybody should work together. Perhaps it's difficult to fight this pandemic, but we can live with the pandemics. And to be able to live with the pandemic, we need to collaborate our efforts, because the way the pandemic spreads is if one parties do not adhere to the safety practice in terms of working cultures or working practices, then this may influence others. The same way is managing the commercial, financial, or even more on the technical sides of it. if one parties fail to catch up with the others, then this may not work as efficiently. So I think that's my remarks is we need to make this as an opportunity to promote collaborative working practice. Thank you.
Thank you.
So yes, perhaps lastly for me, I think everything has been covered by everyone. So I think I've enjoyed this webinar so much, and then I've learned a lot from all the colleagues. And perhaps one thing I would like to reiterate one more time is actually, yes, I hope everyone can stay positive, stay safe, and also perhaps we need to embrace all these changes as well as the opportunities that lays ahead. And I think there are opportunities for everyone, everywhere, all over the world and globally. So yes, and that's finally I would like to wish all the best for everyone. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Irwanda. And then Prof. Eri, do you need to add
Thank
on?
you. I
Yeah.
think it's in Malaysia it is 14:15 now. So just 1 or 2 more minutes from me. Just want to say that that collaboration have been picked up and introduced by Dr. Daru, and also repeated by Prof. Bambang and Prof. Irwanda. Also, everybody sharing the same opinion that the new things are coming now. It depends on us that to check on our readiness on embracing the new things. If we a little bit late to put it all together, then we will be out of the business. Meaning the business is actually as a lecturer. And if I were to make a suggestion to the authority, we have to relook the way is it called, the conventional way of recruiting students, and we have to match that with the way of delivering the lecture, as well as how you're gonna see and introduce and proclaim that you are graduating from that so and so university. And also in terms of study program, in terms of your qualification, it's up to very much to the student to have a full control. If want to be noted that he is actually a civil engineering, what sort of civil engineering is looking for? Maybe on an earth, maybe earthquake proof building, and very specific on that particular one. You will be graduating from Universitas Putra Indonesia. Very specific. But if you want to go for suspended bridge, which is a very long bridge that ever built by a human being, you go somewhere else. So that actually kind of a collaboration that will be introduced in the future. So without thinking ahead of that, I think will be soon extinct. So dalam hal ini saya ingin memberikan pesan kepada kawan-kawan saya sesama pendidik ya di tanah air tercinta, bahwa kalau kita ingin terus survive, dan kita harus siap untuk berubah. Old business will not stand. Yang cara-cara penekanan lama tidak akan berlangsung lama. Sudah terlihat ininya, sign-nya. The country like Australia, like UK, how it used to be getting so much international students. No, there's no way that you will have, luxuries of the past when you recruit so many students now. So it means that you have to change your business strategy as well. Yeah. So that is my final message. So let's change together. Let's use the forum to communicate what sort of what is it called, participation that we can slot into this very complex in nature business of higher education. With that, I think there's no other way that we have to surrender to Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, that in the near future we'll have something called for our young generation to pick up something from this accelerated changing by so-called COVID-19. Thank you very much, and thank you for inviting me and everybody. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, all the panelists. So we should say that let's move forward. And again, thank you very much to all honor speakers and participants and organizer for making our today international webinar more successful. Let's show up our clap hand in the monitor. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Waalaikumsalam wabarakatuh.
Thank you, everyone. Love to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Great. You are all great. Thank you.
Dr. Irwanda bisa dapat nomor kontaknya? Email address atau?
Hello.
Yeah.
You're talking.
Yeah, I asking you, could you please to send us your contact number or maybe your email address?
Send to you, but just now I give you. You see here.
Okay. Thanks, Prof. Yaakob. Prof. Irwanda, maybe you can send us as well. Okay, we got it. We got it. Thanks, Prof.
Ya, terima kasih.
Terima kasih, Prof.